Howdy folks, Chuck Schiele here with Making Music Magazine with part 2 of how to record an acoustic guitar in stereo. Now, as we covered in the first demonstration, we went through the signal chain and a breakdown of each point in that signal chain. The signal chain being defined as the instrument itself, the sound of that instrument that we call the signal, thereby the term signal chain. It goes through a series of events, and the first event is that it goes through a microphone. That microphone will convert that signal into another signal and send that to a channel strip that has, or a preamp that handles the sound and prepares it to go to the interface. The interface which takes the analog signal that it is so far at this point and converts it into 1s and 0 binary digital signal and then sends it to the computer. Okay, so now we have the session open, and what we have here, as you can see, there are two tracks. This top one here, track 1, is the bout recorded with the AKG 414 mic, and track 2 is the same track recorded on the neck with an SM57 microphone. What this does for us here is enables us opportunity. Now if we go over here and we look at the session in the board view, you can see just like a regular soundboard, it has faders with the different knobs that make track assignments, busing assignments. Get the pan, since we're talking about stereo today. So if I take these two tracks and make the pan, which the pan is the assignment of where the sound goes, meaning to the left ear or the right ear or the left speaker or the right speaker. So I'm going to tell both of these to go straight up so it comes out equally out of both speakers in a fashion that we call mono. So that result will be mono. And so when I do that, I'm going to start by showing you what this sounds like in mono. Here we go. Ready? Put your headphones on. So there you go, that's a mono signal made by using two tracks. Sometimes you want to do it that way because you get better representation off the neck by using the one microphone and making your adjustments for that. And then you can produce a better sound of the lower tones of the guitar at the bout and those kinds of details by using the appropriate mic for that and exploiting all the better parts of that. You put them together and you can shape a beautiful guitar sound in mono. You don't have to do it that way. You can just use one mic. You could use either one of these mics and let it just be a mono sound. Now, but we're here to talk about stereo, so I'm going to go back to stereo and we're going to listen to what the same passage sounds like when I pan the bout to the left and I pan the neck to the right. And so we play it again. Ready, set, headphones on. And there you have it, the same thing expressed in stereo. The differences are subtle, and depending on how they're being used in a mix with other instruments contributing to the total mix, it can be a huge thing. Let's talk about EQing. The main thing when you are mixing is to think about EQ and how to prepare the signal so that it's on its best behalf. Don't worry about things like reverb just yet and all the fancy plug-in effects and all that stuff. The real thing to do is to get the instrument to represent itself on its best behalf. One of the main things to do with that is to find what you do not enjoy about the instrument and then reduce that or attenuate it. Lower it in volume. So as you can see here on my EQ, this is the shape of my EQ. These are low sounds, these are mid-range sounds, these are treble sounds, upper range sounds. Because of the guitar and where I am here, this is on the neck of the guitar, so there's a lot of bright tones. I've got this turned up here, but you can see I let it fall off here and fall off there because why? mainly the guitar isn't producing any tones in those audible ranges. So just for the sake of reducing noise in the signal, which is another part of this, is to scallop that off there. Now I've made a few cuts here, a little bit in the low end, not too much. A little bit right here in this middle range kind of makes it sound a little honky. Right there sounds pretty good. And over here on the bout, where the 414 is, that one, the bout is producing more of a low end signal, and sometimes that can over-represent. So we compensate for that by making it underrepresent by about the same amount that it was overrepresented to get the guitar to sound like the guitar actually sounds, which is the object. Compression. Now compression is a bit of a mystery to some folks. It usually is when you get started out, but hang in there with it. It makes sense once you get going and you learn to hear it. So the way compression works is it takes volumes and frequencies and squeezes them into smaller ranges of dynamic. That's the best way to say it that I can think of. I like to use it more as a limiting thing where I can take those loud notes that jump out of the normal flow and the normal smoothness of the mix and tame them and bring them down. And the way it works is I can say to the compressor, hey, anything that goes over this volume right here, I want you to reassign that volume to where it is over here. And I can, by using common sense and good listening, I can make it agree with the rest of what I'm playing in a way where it doesn't jump out in such an obnoxious way. I use it for that in the guitar all the time. The long story short is it allows me to smooth the guitar out. It's not something to overuse, and most people, not most people, but a lot of people will overuse it, and it sounds hard and unhuman and metallic and so on. So adding reverb. Now, one of the first things that people get interested about when they get into recording is they want to play with reverb. We've all heard about reverb. We all kind of know what it is. It becomes a sort of a toy word, and people just love to play with it. And especially when you're new, people, in my opinion, used it way too much. The reason to use reverb really is to establish the sonic space that you're in. So the idea being that if you're in a large arena, the way the sound bounces off the walls and travels through the air on the way to your ears is a different kind of delayed, reverbed sound than it is if you're in a small room, a gymnasium or a church or a school or a grocery store or in a place without walls. They all have a different sound, and it all relates to a reverb being part of that expression. So with that said, the idea for reverb is to use it just subtly to put the instrument into a desired space. These are just a few of the many, many tools that are available today that help you shape your sound and create the sonic space that you desire. Once again, preparation is the key, so be sure to do your homework. I got into the music business and found out that there is always homework. Okay, it's time to save it as a playable track. I just select my tracks, I hit render. You will be presented with a dialog box somewhere along the way that makes you make certain selections regarding file size, bit depth, normalization, and stereo mono, and so on. Hit OK, name your track, and you're on your way. So there you go, folks. That's your 3x5 card version on how to record and mix an acoustic guitar in stereo. We hope you had a great time. I hope you had a great time. If you're an expert or professional in the recording realm and you have a specific topic you'd like to share with us or contribute, contact me, Chuck Schiele, @bentleyhall.com. In the meantime, if you guys had a great time, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channels, see all of our social media stuff. We're everywhere. And join our mailing list. Stay tuned for more educational things from all stratas of the music business or the music world. Keep playing, keep practicing, and have a great day.